This video is for you if you are feeling drained all the time, no matter how much time you rest, if you're just having a general sense of fatigue, even a feeling that no matter what you do, it just feels like it's not being effective. You're just kind of spinning your wheels, just a general sense of stuckness in life. All of these might be signs that you are burnt out. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 simple somatic based practices to help address burnout. And the reason we use somatic practices for burnout is because burnout is very deeply tied to our nervous system and how our nervous system is functioning. So when we are in an activated state, when we are stressed for too long, if it is beyond our capacity, eventually what happens is we go into a shutdown state, and that's what burnout is. So these practices that I'm going to share are both activating and balancing for the nervous system. So to address burnout, you have to, one, activate, get out of the shutdown state. And then two, how do you build your capacity to handle stress so you don't get to that point of burnout and shutdown in the future? So there's going to be 5 practices. You can do them all together as a practice, one practice, or you can break them up and do one at a time just to feel which ones work best for you. Take what works, leave what doesn't. For the first practice, we're going to be doing a activating practice. So this practice will do standing, and you can have your feet about hips distance apart. It doesn't matter exactly where your feet are. We just want a tall spine to start. The practice we're doing is called Breath of Joy. And so it's going to be 3 quick sips of air on an inhale, and then exhale, we're going to let it all out. We're going to do it with our body. I'll demonstrate one time, and then we can do it together. So we're going to inhale our arms up, fingertips pointing forward, and then the same inhale, just another sip of air, we're going to bring our arms out wide. And then another inhale, another little sip of air, and the same inhale, our arms are going to come up. And then we'll exhale, bending our knees, letting our arms drop by our side. And then we'll repeat. So we inhale, 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 exhale, inhale, 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 exhale. We'll do 2 more. Inhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, 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 exhale. And then we'll just come up to standing and take a moment to notice. You could have your eyes closed or a soft point of focus. Just take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Maybe your heart is beating a little faster. Maybe you feel a little more energized, a little more activated. Maybe even a sense of upliftment from the practice. The next practice we're going to do is going to be some spinal movements. We're going to move our spine in all the different directions our spine moves. We're going to move it with our breath. So the reason we are doing this practice is our spinal cord, which attaches our brain to our body. So all the signals from our body come down through the spinal cord, go into all of our organs, go all throughout our body in the same way the other direction. So we are stretching our spine as, yes, the physical part of our spine, the muscular structure, but we're also massaging our nerves, getting our nervous system to be able to get the signals where it needs to more efficiently. So we're starting again just in this standing position. You can do the same thing seated with the spinal movement. So this could also be a great practice if you're just sitting at your desk taking a couple minutes to do all of these different spinal movements. So we're going to first start with an extension and a rounding. So you can have your hands at your hips. And we're going to inhale, we're going to pull our elbows together, expanding across our chest, maybe looking up. And then exhale, we're going to round our spine, chin towards our chest. And just moving with your breath. Inhale, you're opening up. And then exhale, we find this curve. Our elbows go forward on the exhale. Just moving with your breath here. Really feeling the articulation of your spine in this extension and flexion. And you can stay with this practice. If you want to go a little bit deeper, we can turn this more into a forward fold. If you're standing, if you're seated, it would be the same. We're just bending at our hips. So inhale, we open. And then exhale, we're going to bend at our hips, folding forward. And inhale. We come back and open. Just taking a few breaths. Again, you can stay with that first version. We're coming just to a fold instead of the round. And as we're doing this, we'll just do one more round. But what we're doing as well with the forward fold and a little bit of back bend, we'll come to center and take a moment to pause, is we activate our nervous system as we open up, and we calm our nervous system as we round or as we fold forward. So we're actually working to balance these two parts of our nervous system as we're moving in this way. And then we're going to do a side to side motion here. So we're going to inhale, get our spine really tall, and exhale, we'll just let our left fingertips come up the side of our body as our right fingertips reach down towards the floor. Inhale, we'll come back to center. Exhale, we go to the other side. And we're just moving with our breath again, stretching through the side of the body. And you're welcome to stay with this motion, just fingertips up the side of the body, or you can reach that arm up alongside the ear, both arms up in the center as you inhale. And we'll just take one or two more rounds of breath here. And then coming back to center, exhale, resting arms down by your side. Just taking a moment to pause and notice. Beautiful. The last movement, so we did this extension, flexion, extension, we did the side bend, and then the last movement our spine can do is a twist. So we're going to step our feet a little bit wider this time, toes pointing a little bit out to the side. We're not trying to do way out to the side, but just a little bit out to the side. We're going to let our arms get heavy. We're just going to let our spine twist in kind of a loose way. We're not really forcing it. And let your arms tap your shoulders, your lower back. You can lift opposite heels. Don't think about that too much. Just let your feet do what they want to do as you're twisting. And then we'll slowly just come back to center, finding that place feet about hip distance apart. And again, either eyes closed, soft focus. Notice the impact of that little practice. All right, in this next practice, we're going to be doing a movement that includes balancing, a little bit of core strength, and bilateral stimulation. So the balancing component of this is really helpful if our mind is all over the place. When we're working with balance, we have to be really present. Our mind has to be focused on what's happening right now. So it can be a good recentering practice. The core component of this practice is really good to help connect to that sense of inner strength to be able to navigate challenges as they arise. And then the bilateral stimulation, which just means we're working both sides of our body, is really good because it helps the left and right hemispheres of the brain communicate. It can be really soothing to the nervous system and can help us process information much more efficiently. So it's a lot we're doing. The movement is pretty simple. Again, you can do this seated. It's going to look pretty much the same. You would just be seated in a chair. So we're going to start first with the right toes kind of pointing out to the side at an angle and then reaching this left arm out to the side. So it's like one line from left toe to right fingertips. We're going to inhale, we're going to stretch those away from each other, fingertips and toe tips away. And then exhale, we're going to come through center, knee to elbow. And then inhale, we'll stretch back out. And just moving with your breath in this way, you can either bring your toes back down to the ground, or you could try to float them. So you're staying balanced on one leg the whole time. And if you fall, that's great. That just means you are practicing. You're pushing your edge. Beautiful. Let's do one more. And then just pause and center. Notice what's happening from one side to the other. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So left toes out, right fingertips up. Find that stretch. Inhale, we stretch. Exhale, knee and elbow come together. And then they stretch apart and maybe toes touch. Or maybe they stay lifted. Just moving with your breath. If balance is a challenge, you might bring your gaze to rest on a point on the ground that's not moving. We'll do two more. And then again, just come back to center, taking a moment to pause. And again, noticing the impact of that practice. It's the impact on you. I can tell you the science behind it, but that is a lot less important than your actual experience. This next practice, we're really going to play with taking up space. So when we get in a place of burnout, it can be really hard to kind of like protect our time, protect our energy, protect our space, protect our peace. So this is a really simple practice. There's not a prescribed way to do it, but we're going to start just hands about at our chest. And as you exhale, we're just going to push. We're going to push away. You can kind of do it all around your body in all directions, like really clearing space for yourself. You can imagine kind of sending back other people's stress, sending back other people's expectations, sending back other people's demands. Not that we ignore everyone, but the weight it's carrying, the weight we're holding for other people. How can you send that back? Things you don't need to be carrying. This is just a practice, and it can look, you can get your whole body into it if you're feeling it. Kick it away if you want to. Just really taking up space. You can walk around with it. Just move. It can be behind you. Really practicing feeling that pushing away. Because often when we feel stuck, we pull in. So how do we expand? How do you take up space? And just playing with it for a little while. What does it even feel like to do this? Are you like, this is stupid? I don't know why I'm doing this, or does it feel a little scary? Does it feel really good? What is the actual sense of this experience of the pushing away, the taking up space, and the really, kicking if you need to kick? And then we'll just take a moment in the center of all of that, in your space you created. You can imagine kind of creating a bubble around you. You kind of cleared out the space, and now you're just imagining a bubble around you that encases you and keeps out all that extra pressure. More than just the things you have to do, all of that cultural pressure, family pressure, pressure you put on yourself. Just putting that outside the bubble for now. And allow yourself to take up the space inside the bubble. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to justify why the bubble's there. Just let yourself be in the bubble. And just notice what's happening. And you can stay in this bubble as long as you want. You can remind yourself of the bubble as you move throughout the day. Or even just that little space of a little bit of pushing, a little bit of distance between those extra pressures and yourself. All right, in this final practice, we're going to take a minute. I'm going to do this standing. You can do this seated. You could even do it lying down. But we're going to really practice rooting in our sense of dignity, in our values. So when we feel burnt out, when we feel overwhelmed, everything can just feel very blah, like what's the point? And this practice just reminds us to come back to what's important to us, to come back to our sense of dignity that we can carry even in the world when things are stressful, when there's suffering, when there's pain, when it feels like nothing we do is enough. How do we stay in our sense of self, our sense of dignity? So we're going to start just by either eyes closed or having a soft focus and feeling your contact with whatever you're standing on, seated on, lying on. And then feel a sense of rooting into that to expand through your spine, lengthening through the top of your head, getting really expansive across your chest, while maintaining a sense of connection, of holding through the center of your body. So we're not just expanding out, we're finding this sense of center, expanding across our chest, opening through our heart while staying rooted and connected. And then we're just going to imagine roots growing from your body down all the way through all the layers of wood and stone, whatever metal, whatever might be between us and the actual earth. These roots grow deep down through our body, down into the earth. You can imagine these roots as what's important to you. Things like connection, care, justice, family, community. Yours could be something totally different. What are those things that you find important? And they're growing out of you down into the earth, reminding you that you're connected to something greater than yourself. And with that, take a minute to feel with that connection down. If you could again sense this openness in the spine, this length in the spine, a sense of being worthy. You don't have to strive, you don't have to overdo. You can just be for right now. You, as an individual, can't fix or solve anything. There's some things we can, but so much is out of our control. As an individual, that's impossible. So when we root down into the earth, into what's important, we're reminded that we are deeply connected to things that are much greater than us, to other people who share those values, like our roots, kind of reaching out, finding other people's roots, holding each other up, holding this sense of dignity. You're worthy of care, of connection, without having to overdo, without having to overwork. And you could stay here as long as you like. If you're ready, you can first just feel that sense. What is the sense of that dignity, that worthiness in your body? And then as you're ready, trying to hold on to that sense of dignity, as you open your eyes, as you come back, externalizing your intention and taking that with you wherever you go. I hope those practices helped you to feel a little more grounded, a little more present, maybe even a little more hopeful about the future. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know down below which practices worked the best for you. Which ones did you notice the biggest difference? And maybe even the ones that didn't. Sometimes things just don't land. So let me know down below. And if you're looking for more practices like these, you can see a video I have here for practices specifically designed, a little sequence to do after work.